The homeowner complains, "My attic is way too hot, and so is the upper floor of the house. I don't think my ridge vents are working." The roofing contractor or the HVAC contractor suggests, "Add a power fan to give a boost to the ridge vent." That's a bad idea. Hi there. Welcome back to another episode of our podcast, Airing It Out with AirVent. My name is Paul Chelsea. I host AirVent's in-person attic ventilation Ask the Expert seminars offered every winter to roofing professionals all across North America since 1998. The scenario I just explained at the start of the program is the second most common mistake in residential attic ventilation: mixing two different types of attic exhaust vents on the same roof above a common attic. This mistake is called short-circuiting the attic ventilation system because mixing types literally short-circuits the airflow. Short-circuiting can cause inefficient airflow and, potentially, damage to the roof, the attic, and inside the house. Let me explain further and provide some background, please. There are 5 categories or types of attic exhaust vents. They are ridge vents, wind turbines, box vents, sometimes called static vents or can vents, power fans, either roof mount or gable mount, traditional electric or solar powered, and gable end louvers, installed high in the gable end or side of the house. The reason combining or mixing any two of those 5 types is problematic is because it causes the air to follow a path that is not best for the attic. You see, in order to do its attic ventilation duties correctly, fight potentially damaging heat buildup, fight moisture buildup, and fight ice dams, the airflow is supposed to enter low on the roof through the intake vents and exit high at or near the roof peak through the exhaust vents. That arrangement allows the air to wash the entire underside of the roof deck and flush out any built-up heat and moisture along the way. But if the low to high path is interrupted, short-circuited, by introducing a second type of attic exhaust vent, let's say a roof mount power fan has been added to an already existing ridge vent, like in the scenario we gave to kick off today's program, the primary flow or path of air is limited or reduced to the distance between the ridge vent and the power fan. That happens because air follows the path of least resistance. It's always looking for the absolute easiest path it can take. And now we're leaving a significant portion of the attic incorrectly vented. And it could lead to weather infiltration through one of the exhaust vent types because one of the types has suddenly turned into an intake vent. It's actually pulling in air. That's what intake vents are supposed to do. But if an exhaust vent high on the roof is suddenly pulling air in, it can and will pull in weather that's being carried along with the air. This particular tip, do not mix attic exhaust vent types, is one of our most challenged, disagreed with tips at our AirVent seminars. Well, it used to be, until we relentlessly documented and shared real-world consequences of ignoring this tip. But prior to all that evidence, many in the industry doubted the severity of the problem, saying, "Surely, the more attic exhaust ventilation you have, the better, even if it means mixing types." But that is false thinking. This first-hand experience by Ron Gonzalez, a roofing contractor in Aurora, Illinois, on his very own roof, is an important lesson learned for all of us. My new construction home was built with a ridge vent and an undersized HVAC unit. My solution was to install a roof mount power attic fan and keep the ridge vent, thinking 2 has to be better than 1. It's not. After running the power fan non-stop in the summer, my ridge vent openings are now completely clogged by dirt and debris because they turned into intake vents for the power fan. I recently had my attic insulated, and the contractor took me up there to show me the problem. Now I'm going to redo the ridge vent and eliminate the power fan completely. We are grateful Ron shared his personal experience. We have other examples of the problems witnessed by roofing contractors who were called to the scene to work on the roof, only to find already existing mixed exhaust ventilation in place. The problems they have reported include inefficient airflow inside the attic, damage to building materials due to the inefficient airflow, and weather infiltration. For example, inefficient airflow inside the attic contributes to damage to the roof deck and to premature aging of the shingles. Trevor Atwell, owner of Atwell Exterior Services in Greenville, North Carolina, explains what he has seen. I see examples of mixed attic exhaust ventilation all the time, says Trevor. Premature aging of roofing materials, buckled sheathing, and signs of rotten wood, all due to the moisture and heat being trapped. The heat and moisture being trapped that Trevor references is a result of the mixed types of exhaust ventilation reducing the effectiveness of the attic ventilation system and actually making matters worse. Here's another example. This one is from Tim Chapin, owner of Your Safe and Healthy Home in Akron, Ohio. I had a condo project with a very complex roof, made even worse by the presence of ridge vents, gable louvers, soffit vents, and box vents. I was amazed there was a problem because it seemed to be ventilated to the max, but now I know it was short-circuited. Tom Pica, steep slope consultant, affordable roofing in Aurora, Illinois, also has first-hand experience with mixed exhaust vents. Tom says,
"We see it often with ridge vents and power fan just below the ridge vent, or with box vents combined with ridge vents, sometimes all three. We call that the ventilation trifecta."
Ironically, sometimes the desire to mix attic exhaust vent types seems to be reasonable on the surface, as in the example I used to start this episode. The homeowner or a contractor wants to improve the flow of air in the attic. Thus, adding more vents, even if they are different types, seems logical. But more is only better if it's more of the same type. If improved airflow is the goal, double check if the correct type of attic exhaust vent is being used to match the size of the attic. And are there enough in quantity of those vents installed? Check if the exhaust vent type is best suited for the design of the roof, and certainly confirm if the attic exhaust vent selected is being supplied with a balanced amount of intake ventilation. Mixing attic exhaust vent types, however, is not the answer. Let's dig a little deeper about weather infiltration. Mixing attic exhaust vent types is rolling the dice against Mother Nature. I don't like my odds. Exhaust vents are not designed to bring in air or whatever the air is carrying that very moment. Rain, snow. But that's exactly what can happen when they are mixed on the roof. They can bring in weather. Contractors have reported seeing ice particles and snow inside an attic. That's not good. Neither is rain inside an attic. Paul Vosen, president of DeGenhart Home Improvement in Madison, Wisconsin, has seen the rain. Paul says, "I recall an attic several years ago that had ridge vent and 2 power fans. They installed 2 because they were told 1 wouldn't pull enough heat out of the attic. The house had no overhangs and the attic floor was insulated with a good vapor barrier. I was there in the rain and the power fans were running. The power fans were actually pulling rain in through the ridge vent." Here's another example from Scott Dennison, president of Dennison Exterior Solutions and gutter topper in St. Joseph, Michigan.
I had a very large condo project with a very complicated roof that at first look seemed to be ventilated to the max, wherein the previous inexperienced roofers short-circuited the proper ventilation from the eaves to the ridge by installing an unbaffled ridge vent, box vents, and had failed to close off the gable vents.
Sean Bellis, owner of Epic Exteriors in Overland Park, Kansas, has seen weather infiltration troubles also. Sean says,
over the last 20 years, I've witnessed numerous issues related to short circuiting. That's the industry's term for mixing exhaust vents. I've seen fine wind-driven Midwest snow sucked into the exhaust vents. I've seen the gable vents mixed with ridge vents fail. And of course, turbines and fresh air vents mixed on the same slope.
I'm glad Sean mentioned gable vents, also called gable louvers. When the mistake of mixing attic exhaust vent types happens, it very frequently involves a gable louver with one of the other 4 types. At the AirVent seminars that I host, attendees tell me all the time that homeowners just about demand that the gable louver remain in place, no matter what other type of attic exhaust vent the roofing contractor is recommending. You see, as part of doing a roofing project, roofing contractors will suggest an improvement to attic ventilation if it's needed. So the contractor may suggest switching to a ridge vent, for example, instead of a gable louver. Homeowners will respond, okay, give me the ridge vent, but leave the gable louver in place. The homeowner's reasoning in these cases, the gable louver adds a decorative touch to the home's exterior. The homeowner does not understand or care about short-circuiting troubles. What's the roofing contractor to do? Do what Ron Bastian, owner of Bastian Roofing in Richfield, Wisconsin, does. Ron says,
I've noticed snow and wind-driven rain blowing into a gable end louver, which was combined with a ridge vent numerous times. We've closed up the gable end louver from the inside in the attic area, and this cured the problem that I was called out for.
By closing up or blocking the gable vents from inside the attic, not only is short-circuiting eliminated, but the exterior of the house is unchanged, which should please the homeowner. We started this episode by sharing a bad experience a roofing contractor had on his very own roof. Let's close out the episode with another at-home lesson learned. Here's Sean Toms, Quality Control Inspector at S&K Roofing in Eldersburg, Maryland.
I had mixed attic ventilation on my own home. After attending an AirVent seminar a few years ago, I looked in my attic. I had condensation on the roof nails. I had a ridge vent, gable vents, and a fully vented soffit. So I closed the gable vents, added insulation to my attic floor, problem solved.
The next time a homeowner complains that the attic is too hot and is considering the suggestion to give the existing exhaust vents a boost by adding another type of exhaust, stop the homeowner. Don't mix attic exhaust vent types. Stick with one type. I want to thank each of the participants who contributed to today's episode. Your knowledge, experience, and sharing are helping the roofing industry and homeowners alike. Well, that wraps up this episode. Please leave a review on iTunes if you'd like, and be sure to let us know if there's a topic you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Drop us a note on the podcast page of our website, airvent.com, and please come back for more Airing It Out with AirVent. I'm Paul Chelsea. Thanks for listening.